Welcome to the NiCE Employee Engagement Manager Supervisor Role webinar. In this module, you will learn the supervisor responsibilities, getting to know the supervisor portal, and managing your agents and their performance. This webinar will show the options with all features that have been enabled. However, it is important to note that some functionality may not appear when you access EEM because it is either optional or configurable at the administrator level. As a supervisor, you have the ability to manage agents' extra hours, their access to time off, or also known as voluntary time off, the ability to review agents' performance and daily schedules, and send messages to your agents via the portal itself. Now let's take some time in order to get to know the supervisor portal via Employee Engagement Manager. When accessing EEM, you will use either the URL that was provided by your WFM admin team or by launching EEM via your Supervisor Workstation dashboard by clicking on the left navigation bottom icon titled Employee Engagement Manager. Your credentials in order to access the EEM Supervisor portal will be one of three different credentials. The first credential could be your single sign-on. Dependent upon your organization's settings, if you have single sign-on, you will be launched to your organization's logon screen. The second authentication method would be platform-based authentication. This means that your user ID and password will be mirrored that of what you would use in order to log into the WFM Supervisor Workstation platform. And finally, you have the uniquely created credential, which is EEM specific. This allows you to create your own password based on the username that has been enabled by your workforce management admin team. Please note that if you receive the username or password you entered is incorrect, you will need to contact your workforce management administration team in order to reset your password or to receive additional guidance in how you can access the EEM Supervisor portal. When you successfully log into EEM, you will be brought to the main dashboard screen. Let us discuss generating reports. To display a list of reports available for supervisors, click on the Reports button on the navigation bar. It will then open a Reports dashboard in another tab. The data available for all reports is retained for a maximum number of 3 months. A report generated for a date older than 3 months does not contain any data. Supervisors can access reporting data for all teams under a selected program in which they are assigned. This is a limitation of the solution based on our configurations. The supervisor reports available will depend on the features your company has enabled. In order to understand more information about the reports, a description of them, and their benefits, please utilize the Reports User Guide located on NiCE's Extra NiCE. Now let's begin reviewing the Managing Your Agent section of the Supervisor portal within the Employee Engagement Manager product. To view pertinent information about your agents who are reporting to you in WFM, click on Dashboard, and then the My Agents tab displays the information about the agents whom are assigned to you. This will include their agent ID, the agent's name, and their username. In addition, you will also see the information surrounding their shift, which will display the agent shift for the current day, and the logon status. This indicator displays whether the agent is on shift and logged into the EEM solution. It is color-coded by the agent state. If you see the color green, that means that the agent is logged in and on shift. If you see red, the agent is not logged in. However, they are on shift. If you see yellow, the agent is logged into the EEM solution, however they are off shift. And if it is white, they are not logged in and they are not on shift. In addition, you will also be able to see the training, whether the agent shift for the current day includes a training or a coaching activity code, as indicated within EEM based on our activity mapping. This will be indicated by either a yes or a no. Now let's take a look at the real-time call data, which will be visible for each one of your agents within the EEM dashboard. EEM tracks the 3 main characteristics of our contact center call data for our agents. The first one is our calls. This will be the number of contacts the agent handled on the current day. The second metric in which EEM will continue to monitor is the average handle time. The agent's average handle time per contact for the current day, which will be displayed in seconds. And then finally, ACW, or after call work. This will be the agent's after contact work time for the current day, which will also be displayed in seconds. It is important to note that agent real-time data updates when the interval data is received from the WFM system itself. Typically, this occurs every 30 minutes. Now let's take a look at your ability as a supervisor to managing your agent's shift options. This functionality is available on the My Agents dashboard. At the far end, if enabled by the organization, you should see three main options. Block OT, which would determine whether or not an agent is able to pick up extra hours. Block VTO, or the time off, will also go ahead and determine whether or not the agent is blocked from being able to pick up voluntary time off. And lastly, the update link. This link is used to adjust the blocks on both extra hours and time off opportunities that the agent would see within their self-service menu option. It is important to note that when a block is enabled, workforce management will not know. However, agent offerings will be gray, meaning that it is unavailable for them to accept either a time off or a extra hours opportunity. Now let's take a look at how to implement a block OT and/or a block VTO for your agent. To do this, select Dashboard on the navigation pane in the left-hand window. Then click on either the Block OT or Block VTO column in the row with your agent's name in whom you want to block that overtime and/or voluntary time off for, and select Update in the Update column. Once this is completed, a new dialog box will appear, and in this dialog box, you will be able to go ahead and modify the Block OT and Block VTO functionality. If an already enabled Block OT or Block VTO exists, the first option will be able to unblock that overtime or VTO block which has been put into place. The second option, Default, allows you to block the OT or block the VTO for the current day. And then finally, we have Custom. And in the Custom selector, you would be able to select the start date and time and the end date and time of either the Block OT or Block VTO or both. You will then go ahead and select Submit, and once you select Submit, you will then select OK. You will know that your Block OT and Block VTO has been successfully completed, as you will see within the My Agents dashboard the Block OT and Block VTO with a date and time stamp in which the Block OT or Block VTO will expire. Now let's review sending a message to your agents. You can send a message to either one agent on your team or your entire team. We will discuss both of these options further in this webinar. The first way in order to send a message to your team is through the My Agents dashboard. In order to access this dashboard, you will select Dashboard in the left-hand menu selector, and on the My Agents dashboard selector, you will then see to the far left-hand side of the screen all of your agents listed, a checkbox next to each of their names. If you needed to send a specific message to multiple agents but not your entire team, then you would be able to select the checkbox next to that agent's agent ID number. If you needed to send a text message or a message to your entire team, you can select the checkmark box located at the top of the screen next to the word agent ID. If you see that there is a checkmark box that is grayed out and you are unable to input a checkmark into that box, that is because that agent has not registered and agreed to the participation within the EEM solution. Please reach out to that agent in order to complete their participation and actively register for their usage of the Employee Engagement Manager solution. Once you have all of your agents and/or your team selected, you may then hit Send Message. The second option in order to send messages to either your agents or your entire team is to select Agent Logon Status from the menu selector on the left-hand side of your window. Here, it will act similar to the way that it did in the My Agents dashboard, where you will be able to select individual agents or you will be able to select your entire team by selecting the checkmark box located to the left-hand side of the dashboard. If you needed to select individual agents, you would select the checkmark box next to their agent ID, and then if you wanted to select your whole team, you would then select the checkmark box next to agent ID again. And similarly, in the upper right hand corner of this dashboard, you will see the option to send a message, and the message dialog box will appear. If you wanted to send an individual message just to one agent, then under the Actions tab on the Agent Logon Status dashboard, you will see a chat bubble. By clicking that chat bubble, it will then enable the send message functionality, and so that you can begin typing your message there. Once the send message dialog box appears, you will be able to select your message type, whether it be a notify or an alert. Below that, you will see the message dialog box, where you may begin inserting the comments in which you would like to message to your agent. Please note that this message dialog box has a maximum character limit of 150 characters. Once you are satisfied with your message, please select Submit. It is important to note that if the agent is on shift, EEM will send the message directly to the agent's desktop, and they will receive a notification just as if they were receiving an email notification through the pop-up notification window in the lower right-hand corner of their screen, which is typically where it's at. Other individuals' configurations might differ. If the agent is not on shift, then EEM will send the message to the agent's preferred communication channel, whether that be via mobile or email. Now let's take a look at the Performance Dashboard, which is located right next to the My Agents dashboard. In the Performance Dashboard, you will see many statistics surrounding the forecasted volumes versus the actual contacts. To break this down into two different segments, we will look at the first 8 rows, which are known as contact stats for agents specific to your particular group. The second set of stats is the last 4 rows, which are the staffing stats for all agents within your particular program. If you're not familiar with reviewing these type of metrics, please reach out to your supervisor. However, we will provide you a quick high-level overview of what each of these characteristic statistics mean. Forecasted calls is the number of contacts forecasted to come into your contact center. Actual calls is the actual number of contacts that came in. The forecast to actual percentage is the difference in forecasted and actual contacts expressed as a percentage. Average handle time is the amount of time that an agent is on a contact with their customer. ASA is the average speed of answer. Abandonment percentage, or ABAND percentage, is the percentage of contacts that ended before an agent could even answer their interaction. SVC LVL, service level percentage, is the percentage of time agents met the service level objective. OCCUP percentage is the percentage of agents scheduled to handle contacts who are actually handling contacts. This is also known as the occupancy percentage. Staffed is the number of agents that are working. REQ staff is the forecasted number of agents required. REQ actual O/U is the difference between the number of agents required and the number of agents staffed, and REQ actual O/U percentage is the difference between the number of agents required and the number of agents staffed expressed as a percentage. It is important to know that these statistical metrics are able to help you not only manage your team's day-to-day performance by leveraging the first 8 rows, but also being able to understand how and when is a good time for you to take off an agent from the phone if you are permitted to do so based on your organization's guidelines for offline activities. When reviewing the REQ actual O/U or the REQ actual O/U percentage, green means that you are trending positively and you are above the number of staff that was required, and if it is red, that means you are below, and that may not be a good time in order to take off an agent in order to have a conversation unless absolutely necessary. Again, if you would like more information surrounding the performance dashboard, you may either reach out to your direct manager or access the Supervisor guide located on NiCE's Extra NiCE. Now let's take a deeper dive into the Agent Logon Status dashboard. In order to access the Agent Logon Status dashboard, please select Agent Logon Status from the left navigation menu selector. Here on the Agent Logon Status dashboard, you will see pertinent information about your agents along with their shift and additional action items. The first thing you can do on the Agent Logon Status dashboard is you are able to filter your agents by one of two ways. The first way is by typing in their agent ID, their agent name, their username, or their registered email address, which can also be their organizational email address. You can also filter by utilizing the logon status indicator at the top of the screen. The logon status indicator at the top allows you to filter by the number of agents logged in and on shift, the number of agents not logged in and on shift, the number of agents logged in and off shift, or the number of agents that are not logged in and not on shift. Please note that when we speak of logged in, we are not speaking of the agent being logged into the ACD, we are speaking of them being logged into the Employee Engagement Manager suite. Similar to the My Agent dashboard, the Agent Logon Status dashboard also has the status indicators, highlighting the entire row, yellow, white, red, or green. To reiterate, if you see the color white, that illustrates that the agent is not logged in to EEM, nor are they on shift. If you see yellow, the agent is logged into EEM, however they are off shift. If you see red, the agent is not logged into EEM and they are on shift. And if you see green, the agent is both logged in and they are on shift. Finally, in the last section of the Agent Logon Status dashboard, we will take a review of the action items that you see in the far right-hand side of your screen on each line. It is important to note that not all icons will be available, as these are enabled based on the functionality in which the program administrators have set up for your organization. Several of these action icons are enabled for you to utilize as a way to help your agent in selecting self-service options, as well as being able to review their schedule and help diagnose any issues they may see as they are trying to put in additional self-service requests. As we continue, we will walk through each of these, some in more detail and some just at a high level. In the first icon that we will review, the Agent's Logon Status dashboard, is the Show Agent Preferences. This displays the preferences that the agent has set in the Profile Management section of the Agent Portal of EEM. When you click on this icon, you will receive a pop-up box, and in the pop-up, it'll allow you to visibly see what the agent has selected that they would want to be considered for extended hours, voluntary time off, their Do Not Disturb preferences, or their overall profile by clicking on the corresponding tab. It is important to note that the agent's profile data is view only. The next icon, which is a calendar with a clock overlaying it, is the Show Agent Schedule. This icon displays the agent's schedules for the current week using the arrow buttons to view the agent's schedule for future weeks. Depending on the number of weeks that your organization has enabled will depend upon the number of weeks you have visible within this selection. This view will show you all activities on the agent's schedule from the beginning of their shift until the end of their shift, and the date that is highlighted yellow is going to be considered today's date. The next action item is the computer with the finger pointing at the screen. This is the Show Intelligent Self-Service icon. This allows you as the supervisor to see the availability that the agent will see for the current week and up to 3 additional weeks, depending on the configurations which have been set by the program admin. Self-service options available to the agents will include extra hours, time off, and swap functionality. It is important to note that these options may and or may not be visible depending on the configurations that have been set by your workforce management team. When reviewing the extra hours, time off, and swap functionality, there is a key located at the top of the screen. That key is indicative to what options the agent is able to see auto-approved, pending approval, or not available at all. So when looking at the screen, the person with the gray box just shows that the agent is scheduled. The green box will mean that the agent will be automatically approved for the offer in which they are reviewing. Blue means that it will require approval from from our workforce management team. Gray means not available, and anytime you see a blue with a person and a thought bubble in there, just typically means that the request is currently in a pending state. That just means that the request has been submitted and either EEM is processing it or human intervention will be required to approve it based on the program configurations for the self-service option. Lastly, we will begin to look at the final action items that will be available on the agent logon status. The first action item, which is the silhouette of a person, is the Reset User Registration. The Reset User Registration feature is allowing you as the supervisor and/or the WFM admin to reset the agent's registration and login information to the default standard settings. The second is the Reset Password, which is indicated by a lock icon. Resetting the agent's EM password allows the user to receive a temporary password over their email. They can then reset their password to log on and create a new password. Agents can also reset their password by clicking the Forgot Password on the logon page. This action item is not available if you have single sign-on enabled and/or platform authentication. Next, we have the chat bubble, which is our send message action item. Sending a message to your agents is going to be considered an alert message. As we discussed this prior to sending messages to your agents, this allows you to individualize your message specifically to that one agent and typically may require a yes or no response from that agent. Next, we have the Revoke Bioauthentication action icon. This action icon is viewed as a bioauthentication thumbprint with a lock overlaying it, and this icon will allow you to end the agent's current bioauthentication session on the agent's mobile device. This is typically used when an agent states that they are having difficulty using bioauthentication on their mobile device, and you can reset the bioauthentication, which allows them to go back through the prompts and reset up the bioauthentication on their mobile device. Next, we have the eye silhouette, which is for viewing messages. This allows you as the supervisor to view the most recent alert messages that the agent has received. There's also a report for this under the Reports menu, which you may see back by viewing the Reports user guide. This concludes the overview of NiCE's Employee Engagement Manager Supervisor portal. Should you have any additional questions, please reach out to your Customer Success Manager for additional information. As always, we appreciate you for being a customer here with NiCE and hope we can continue to help you making your experiences flow. Thank you again and have a great day.